Good evening, Chris, and good evening, Cheese Whales. It's 10:30 in the evening, and I haven't made a video yet, because I pretty much forgot to do it earlier in the day, so I guess I have to throw something together now. So instead of today's video being a highly polished and produced and edited thing, it's just going to be me ranting on a topic. Kind of like the 2-minute January videos, only I'm fully awake and I have a definitive thing to say. A recent trend in television is shows trying to be complex and serialized. I'm going to call this trying to be Lost. I say this because, as you may know, Lost is a very complex and serialized show. It's also one of my favorite shows, and ordinarily I would recommend that you all check it out if you haven't, but if you haven't checked it out, then you have 105 hours of TV to catch up on, and that's a massive freaking undertaking. So I'm not going to say, oh yeah, you should definitely do it. But, you know, if you're ever sick or something, rent the first season and watch it, and I think you'll like it. And the thing about the first season of Lost is that it isn't really all that complex or serialized. It's a very conceptually simple show. It's about a bunch of people who are stranded on a mysterious island. And more than anything, it's about those people and finding out more about those characters and learning who they are and how they come together to form this community. The mystery, complexity, and serialization that we associate with Lost only really came about in the late first season and then the second season. Which is why whenever I see a TV show that is trying to be Lost, it confuses me, because don't these people realize that Lost wasn't trying to be Lost? It just sort of became Lost. Flash Forward is one of the prime culprits, but another good example is Dollhouse. Now, I like Dollhouse, kind of, sometimes. I sort of have a love-hate relationship with it. I didn't think the ending was that great, I didn't think the beginning was that great, and I didn't think all of the middle was that great, but there were some really standout episodes, and I think, overall, it was an interesting experience. But Dollhouse has always spent way too much time trying to be complex and deep and serialized and philosophical, and it never really got around to the basics, i.e., character, story. The reason Lost gets away with being so complex is because we really like the characters, and so the show gets away with taking them on all of these complex journeys. Dollhouse never really took off for me because it didn't build from those basics. Character was sort of an afterthought in that show, and occasionally it was done alright, but usually it just wasn't. Another show that's guilty is the new show on Sci-Fi called Caprica, which is a prequel, I guess, to Battlestar Galactica. And I kind of like Caprica, and I kind of like its characters, but it tries way too hard to be complex and deep right out of the gate, and doesn't really give the audience anything simple to grasp onto, to be their anchor in the show. Unlike Battlestar Galactica, which was pretty complex and deep even in its first season, but it had a very simple concept. I mean, you can sum it up in a sentence. After robots destroy civilization, the surviving humans band together to search for a mystical sanctuary. To sum up the premise of Caprica, it would probably take at least twice as many words. 50 years before the robot apocalypse, some guy invents the robots because his daughter, who died, created a virtual version of herself and stuck it in a robot, so he does that, and there are crazy monotheists in a polytheistic world. I don't even think I just said anything that made any sense. I do like the show, and I'm going to follow it and see how it goes, because it's interesting so far, but I don't think interesting is enough for the show to appeal to a wide audience and achieve creative success. Meanwhile, the final season of Lost just started, and the show is more complex than it ever was. But that's okay, because we like these characters, so we're willing to follow them wherever they go. Or at least I am. But anyway, as someone who's really interested in scripted television drama, I do think people could learn a good lesson from Lost, but it's not the lesson they seem to be learning. The lesson they're learning is, hey, if we do something really complex and serialized, we can build a hardcore fan base and then use that to profit. The lesson they should be learning is, hey, if we do a season of simple but strong, character-driven drama, then we'll get the audience, and we'll be able to tell whatever story we want. And the story will be better for it. I think it's an important lesson to learn as a storyteller, which is why I've sort of appreciated it, since I like doing that kind of thing. But I guess I did just senselessly rant about something not many people care about, so I guess I'm going to stop now. Hey, you, TV shows, just stop trying to be Lost, and start being Lost.